Hey everybody, it's Kerry, owner maker of Couture Candle Company. Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, welcome to the fam. All right, today I'm going to talk about vendor pop-up events, vendor markets, in-person events. There's a lot of pros and a lot of cons to doing these in-person markets, so let's get into it together. Okay, this is in no particular order. I'm gonna jump around between pros and cons because I think it's important to weigh all sides of it. However, I do want to start with this one. And the number one thing that I love about going to vendor events is meeting clients, meeting folks who come in, smell candles, whether or not they're even making a purchase, but just being able to talk to folks about the candle scents, the inspirations behind all of the fragrances. They are all born of something or someone, somewhere, in some place. And so it's really fun to sort of walk people through the story. I love that. And I love hearing, just their stories and just ways that we connect. Like there's always somewhere that we can meet and connect, and that is so special to me, and it never gets old. I absolutely love it. Also, at the same time, it's really good feedback. You get a sense of different areas of the city, different markets. Like for me, I'm in Los Angeles, so I go all over. Each area, they gravitate towards a very specific group of scents. I think it's really interesting, and I make notes after every market of, what the client base was like, just what the general vibe was and what sold the most. So it's like really good user feedback and research that you can use for future markets. I suggest creating a tool for yourself so you understand what it costs you for the day. So let's say you're going to an event, it's 20 miles away from where you live, the vendor fee is $75. You should create a tool that lets you know that, so mileage plus gas plus vendor fee, what is your break-even point? And then you can that'll gauge, okay, I need to sell at least, $107 worth of product or whatever to break even. So then anything above 107 is your net, and then you subtract your COGS from net, and there is your profit. I know it sounds really confusing, but I'm telling you, to do this work up front helps you in the long run. And once it's done, you've already put the system in place and you don't have to worry about it again. You're just inputting the info at the end of the day. Like, all right, this is what I ended up doing at the market. Then you can sort of see whether or not it's worth your time, or whether or not that market was worth your time. And you just have to go back and, reassess whether it's worth it. So I like to keep that historical information so I can always go back to it. But I would say with all of that, set your max bar of how much you'll spend. So another con about doing in-person events is they're a lot of work. It's exhausting, to be honest, because you're coming in, you're setting up your space, and then at the end of the day, you have to break it down, pack it in your car, take it home, unpack it from the car, So I've got mine down to a science. Like it's a really, really tight ship, I would say. It used to take me, I would say like an hour and a half, but I totally streamlined the way that I do things, and you'll see a theme. I have some systems in place that help keep everything super organized and super neat, because if it's not organized, I will feel chaos in my brain, and then it just won't work for me. You want to make your space look nice and, very welcoming and inviting, and set it up in a way that encourages people to come into your booth, into your space. I would say, I've seen a lot of vendors, even candle vendors, set it up where it's like a literal store. It looks beautiful, like you're walking in and you're going around a middle table. It's insane, but that's also just more work for you to break down later. I've seen people just stack all of their candles, they bring all of their inventory out, and there's a bazillion bins, and it's feasibly speaking, you're not going to sell 8 of every scent. It's just not going to happen, unless it's a 3-day event or something. I like a minimal look, and if you've seen pictures of my booth setup, I will insert a photo somewhere. I like that it's clean. I want people to see the product. I don't want them focusing on the setup, because then their focus is on the wrong thing. You know what I mean? It's like when you're buying a house, who cares if there's ugly curtains up in the window? Like, how are the bones? Like, how's the house? You know what I mean? So I really want to make sure that when I set things up, my products are front and center. So keep in mind when you're figuring out or designing your booth layout, you know, everything you take out and put up, you have to then take down and put away. And that is exhausting. You just want to make sure that you're not creating more work for yourself than you need to. One of the other pros, and I think it goes without saying, is just getting your name out there, getting brand awareness around your company, who you are, what you stand for, what, you know, how good your product is. Even if someone doesn't buy something, they smell your candles, or like they smell my candles, my soaps, whatever, and they take a business card. I have had people come back and order through my website, which that's amazing. Another pro about doing in-person events is people get to smell your stuff, they take your business card, they buy your stuff, or they don't buy your stuff, but they have your business card, and then getting custom orders or wholesale orders because of that event. And that is massive. That is so, so huge. So it's important because, especially with candles, people aren't sure. I try very hard with the descriptions on the website, but it's just not the same from smelling it in person. Though I will say I haven't had anyone complain about a candle that they bought and it wasn't the fragrance that they were thinking or imagining just based off of my story descriptions. All right, I don't want to make these markets sound really bad or negative, but it just goes with the showgram. You know what I'm saying? So one of the cons is there can be a lot of downtime if it's a slow day or if things are not picking up. And, you know, like some markets will have like a lunch rush or, you know, an early dinner, you know what I mean? Like it just depends upon the time of day that I'm doing the market, that sometimes it's not very busy. And then all of a sudden you'll just get like a mad group of people, you know? Like I've had times where it was so dead and I'm just like, meh, meh, you know? And then like 3 hours in, there's just a gazillion people. And I remember thinking, gosh, I wish Pete was here because I can't attend to everyone. And some people left and they said, oh, I'll come back, you know? And some of them did and some of them didn't. So it's like, you know, but I would say that the downtime, use that time to networking with the other vendors that are nearby to you, or, you know, message your husband. Bombard your husband and ask him to send you pictures of the cats. If you want to pass the time. I have a crossword puzzle. I don't pull it out that often, like, because I want to make sure my attention is up and that I'm catching the eye of people walking by or saying hello. Because sometimes people are a little shy and they just need you to like pull them in a little bit and then they open up like a flower, you know? And if you're down on your phone or you're hidden behind your booth or you're low on a chair and they can't see you, that is a missed opportunity and a potential lost sale. As hard as it may be to want to put your head down and do something else, I think it's really important to stay up, stay visible, and make sure people can see the whites of your eyes. And I'm not joking, I mean that. People, you know, you want to connect with people. It's hard to do that when you look busy or like you're uninterested or not totally present at the market. This is my job. I've created this for me. I'm so grateful to be here. This is what I'm gonna do, you know, just gonna hang out. And sometimes you get really lucky and you're between some amazing people and you just bond and you chat and you have a good time and you're helping each other pull people into their booths and your booth, and you know, we become each other's hype woman or hype man because we're telling them, oh, this product is amazing, you know, da 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 da. I love that sense of support. Again, even though you've just met these folks, it's like you've known them forever because you all have something in common. This may be a con to some. I'm putting it under con because it's not something that we're all on the same page about, and that is having a customer service focused mind. So interacting with people, being super outgoing, you know, being able to look folks in the eye and speak to your product. If you're uncomfortable with that, I strongly suggest practicing. Do what I'm doing. Record yourself just talking. You know, maybe write down some questions that people ask you and then ask them to yourself and say them out loud. And try different answers so that you can get comfortable with talking to people. Because it's nerve-wracking, especially if on a day where you're just not feeling it. Like some days I'm just like, maybe I didn't sleep well or whatever, and I'm just like, If you don't know your own story, I would say you're not ready to be at a market. You need to be able to speak to your products without having to look at a cheat sheet. Like, you should know it, right? You've spent so much time with it. And these are your babies. This is a pro con. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to start with the con, but I'm going to wrap it up into a pro, because this for sure is going to happen. Cat hair. You're going to have some people who just, and I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt, being in a lockdown for a couple years, that some folks are a little out of touch with how to interact with people, especially people that hand make things like I do, like perhaps maybe you do, where they come up to the table, and I've had someone pick up Coco Santal, which is one of our #1 selling fragrances, smell it and go, oh, no. So be prepared for people to not love all of your babies, and that is okay. Be prepared for people to have a myriad of opinions, and not only just about your fragrances, but they'll also give you some, unsolicited feedback about what to do for your business. So the way I'm going to wrap up this con is, it's okay. Not everyone thinks your babies are cute, but as long as you do, that doesn't matter. They're not the client for you. The clients that do appreciate and think your babies are cute, they're going to come find you and they're going to purchase from you. Those are your clients. Folks that come up to your table and maybe smell something or pick something up and they have a negative reaction, or they are negative, that's not you, that's them. And let's not spend any more time on it. What those few and far between negative interactions do is they help you formulate your response or lack of response so that you can still be cool and professional without engaging or going to the level of where they are. For Coco Santal, I'll give you that example again. He was like, ew. And I was like, yeah, not everyone likes coconut. What do you like? Perhaps I can direct you somewhere else. You just kind of learn what your own pitch is, essentially, and how you can take that negative and turn it into like a positive or a neutral positive, And that's not to say some people are just beyond speaking to. Some people just don't want to. And I would say don't try too hard, because it doesn't matter, Again, they're not your client. And I'm not going to try really hard to get you to make a sale when you've already come in with seemingly just a negative attitude, and maybe that's your agenda for the day, and that person needs a hug and a lollipop type of deal. So for me, I love doing markets. I think they're really fun. Sure, they have their cons, but I think the pros outweigh the cons, because I want to share my passion with anyone who wants to hear about it, or anyone that wants to join in and come into my booth. Hopefully they'll come to the website again later, or come find me at another market. I think that is such a testament to the connections that you make and your product when people do come and seek you out after they've met you at a vendor market. And that wouldn't have happened if you didn't put yourself out there. So to anybody thinking about it or wanting to do it or having hesitations, I would say if you take anything away from this video, it's that you go and you do it. Get out there, go put yourself out there. That is such a huge pro. There is nothing braver than putting yourself out there, your story, your products, and just being raw and exposed to the world, because, everyone has a different taste. But it's such an amazing experience. There's nothing like it. I never imagined I would do that in my life, ever. I was talking with Pete, and I was like, there's different periods in my life where I love to shop small. I love going to those markets, but I never imagined I would find myself there. And so being on the other side, I have empathy and sympathy for the rough days, and then for the great days, So definitely do a couple, get out there. I think you need to do several to really find your stride. And certainly I had to do that for me, from the layout of the table to how I did it to what I ended up removing, too much signage, too much product on the table, blah blah blah. I think you just will find your niche and you'll find your style and just go with it. Don't let anyone make you question what you're doing. We got through it. Those are my overall sort of general pros and cons of doing in-person events. Would love to know if you are a small business owner and you do in-person events, what are your favorite things and what are your least favorite things? Tea. All right, thank you so much if you've stayed through the video this far. I appreciate your support. Every like and comment, subscribe and share of my YouTube videos really helps me out. So until the next one, I'll see you then. Bye. It's exhausting on your feet, on your back, on your neck, you know, especially if you lift it with your neck like I do. Book those people. You know what I'm saying?